Welcome to the Reborn Katz Kempo. I'm Peter Katz. I have 26 years of martial arts experience, a PhD in English, 2 cats, an eating disorder, and I struggle with anxiety. Let's talk about martial arts. This is part of a new series where I'm hoping to have you ask me questions about traditional martial arts, self-defense, sparring, cats, mental health and martial arts, general fitness and flexibility questions, and I will answer them for you in short, informative videos. First question I'm going to talk about comes from my most loyal YouTube follower, except for the guy who keeps posting like 800-word crazy essays on all of my videos, Raymond. He wants to know about stomping in Kempo. In Kempo, after we finish a technique, there's often an extension that involves a whole crapload of stomping. If you've seen Enter the Dojo with Master Ken, the re-stomp the groin is a direct joke about Kempo. He is a Kempo black belt. Raymond's question is, how do we stomp? When do we stomp? The very short answer is, almost never. The core paradox of stomping. If you stomp somebody who is on the ground and defenseless, you're going to jail. But if you stomp somebody who's on the ground and can defend themselves, they're going to take you to the ground. A stomp, which I'm going to define as a kick in a downward direction to a low target, is something that you want to use very sparingly. First of all, there are some mechanical problems with stomping. If we're thinking about it as a kick, we want our center engaged in it, and not just to be waving our foot around. So we can't just stomp out here, we have to stomp with our center into it. Second is your knee. You're kicking up here, and the force comes back toward you, your knee can bend that direction, and your hip can absorb that force, and your lower back can help too. If you're kicking straight down, especially if you're doing something like an axe kick, to a low target, all of that force is going to go directly into your knee. The other mechanical problem is that if you've ever tried to stomp on a ball, it rolls out from underneath you. So if you stomp on someone's arm or their leg, or God forbid their head, it's going to move. It slides. You're going to fall if your center is over your target like it should be. When do we stomp? I think the only time it is both ethical and intelligent to use a downward kick to a low target is to keep somebody down after they've already gone down and they're getting back up. Before I even talk about that, if you hit someone and they go down, you leave them. You run away, you go into a crowded area with lots of people. If you throw someone and they're down, you run away, you go to a crowded area with lots of people. So the only kind of stomp that I think is kind of okay to use is from Form 5, hopping crane, probably not a technique that you would learn on a technique list somewhere. And it's essentially you are toward the person's feet, their head is up that direction, they've fallen down, they're pushing back up, you sweep their arm out and kick down. The mechanics for that is a sweep and a kick. So we're going to do that in one circular motion, not in 2 linear motions. So not one line, 2 lines, but rather in a sort of C shape. Use your center, so your center is going to sink down with your strike. So that principle is it, in my opinion. If they're down and getting back up fast, then you can use something like that to push them back over and then run. I'm recording this on the anniversary of Elijah McClain's death and highly aware of the repeated commands of the police officers that he stay down and stop resisting. So I'm really concerned about the idea of hitting someone who's down. If you have to tell someone to stay down, like think about the power dynamics of what's going on before you hit them again. In my opinion, the most ethical thing to do is not to fight. The second most ethical thing to do is to run the heck away as soon as they hit the ground. But the third most ethical thing to do is to follow them to the ground and control. Not hurt, not choke, but control. Some sort of an arm lock that doesn't cause permanent damage, a knee on their back, maybe, if you can get them rolled over and holding the arm, knee on the back, and just say like, let's not do this right now. Call your friends. End of fight. You need to hit someone on the ground, you kind of messed up already. First of all, because you're fighting, but second of all, because ideally you hit them enough that they're staying down if you really had to hit them. You don't really want to go onto the ground and roll with them, and you really don't want to be stomping on them. Now, that said, if you're just like, hey, I don't actually want to fight people, I just want to do traditional martial arts, and there's all kinds of stomping in them, awesome.